Hello and welcome to episode 30 of our Timberborn Update 6 Apocalypse Mode playthrough here in Cycle 19, Day 15, at the start of a 75-day drought. So, we are very, very close to the logical endpoint of this playthrough, with just a little bit more stuff to do to ensure our beavers have maximum happiness and everything that we could possibly want and reasonably accomplish within a prudent amount of time is taken care of. We have a couple more of these things to build in terms of well-being things, and then we also have the monuments to get to. Right now we only have the Labor Monument kind of tucked away here, and we still have the Flame of Unity, the Tribute to Ingenuity, and then the unique Iron Teeth Monument called the Earth Repopulator that we need to find a place for and take care of some other stuff. But don't get upset yet. It's not over. We have at least this episode, maybe a couple more, to get all that stuff taken care of. We're gonna have to try and do our best because we absolutely need to get some other stuff going here. We last time started the process of blasting out additional reservoir space, and we're going to continue that. But there's a few things we need to take care of before we get into another time lapse, and that is, I'm going to have this, I guess we can call it upstairs farm. Instead of getting corn, we're going to actually destroy all of this stuff. Oh, don't destroy it. What are you doing? Well, I'll tell you. We are about to have a lot more canola oil because when we get into making grease for the bots, that's going to consume quite a bit. Extract as well. So we're going to need to do a little bit in the way of making room for that. And we also don't need to have these blueberries here in coffee. Maybe not. We'll have to take a look at what our stuff is set up with. But suffice to say, we've got our work cut out for us. We've got a lot to get taken care of, and we're going to do our best. We also have to have pine trees up here. And I know we've got a lot of oaks that we're not cutting down, but I think we can make that happen. These are marked for cutting. They're just not being used too terribly quickly. Remember, we have a lot of space down here as well, and this is more prudent for like an oak farming thing, I think. So what's going to make the most sense, in my opinion, is to change this area here to be for pine trees, so we can harvest the sap, the resin as the game calls it, and then use that for all sorts of other fun stuff. But I wanted to get this taken care of before we started doing a time lapse, because you know how this goes. You know how it goes. So if we just plant a bunch of canola here, I mean, I guess we could technically leave these blueberries and the coffee bushes and stuff here just because there's no real reason to get rid of it. We're not in immediate need of using all of this space. But the canola, definitely. And we will need to continue doing as much as we possibly can to make sure that we're supporting our future stuff. So, all that being said, let's take a look at these trees. They are... okay, some of these are about ready to get harvested, but not too many of them. What I'm going to do is this. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to leave this. Actually, no, we don't have to leave that because we can just go right across the trench. I'm going to start planting pine trees in this area here. Just leave this as it is and start filling them in one by one, but we also have to make sure we're not cutting them down because those trees are going to be used for the processes that require that. Specifically, we have wood workshops that don't have pine resin right now because, well, pretty sure the only pine resin we're harvesting the entire map is this little tiny pathetic square right there. So that could be easily fixed by having them planted up here and harvested accordingly, and I believe that is going to be our best option moving forward here. So we have access to all this stuff. I just need to make sure that I don't plant there, which I definitely did, and get this connected with a path. Super simple. And then we can actually, right on top of this area here, go ahead and put in a tapper shack that will be able to reach all of this. Of course, this is going to have to be set for bots, which we can go ahead and very quickly do. And you might sit here with nothing to do for a while, but we have 22 unemployed bots. We don't need to be worried about it. So just keep on keeping on, do what we can. You know the drill. Say it a whole bunch of times. We will have to kind of keep monitoring this as time goes by, but that's going to be a good thing for us to do. We did just about clear all of our scrap metal out, which is exciting because that means we can get rid of these scrap metal collector flags and take care of most of the rest of the stuff that we have to do. And yeah, somebody left a comment saying that this compact water wheel is not doing anything, and that would be correct because we are in a drought. But this was more or less just like an emergency thing, and now that we actually have a pretty good amount of wood being produced, we also have the opportunity to fill this in and get more trees planted, which we will continue doing. But it's about time we just go ahead and say, you know what? We can put an engine in and it's going to be just fine. Nobody has to worry about it. I'm just going to maybe move this a little bit further up here. And I think, yeah, right here should be fine. Then we will just pop in charging stations. These are 50 HP each, which means we can have 8 attached because these make 400. So if we just do here, 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 and here, that's already 4. This will give us 6. That's also facing the wrong way. Let's turn that around. And then we could do 2 more around the back, or we could just have this set up like so, and then we have a power connection for something else, should we need it. But that, I figured, would be a decent enough place to leave that. And then, of course, we can just get rid of these paths here and start planting additional oak trees in this general area. We can take advantage of what we have access to here and grow plenty of trees. I guess I'll just have all this marked for planting, and if they can plant it, they can, and if they can't, then they can't, and that's just the way it goes. We do have 4 of these lumberjack flags here. We have a 5th one here, and I think, given how this is set up, obviously, if you have a perfect set of foresters and lumberjack flags and they're all run by bots, then you probably only need about 8. About 8, roughly. But this isn't exactly perfect. The entire range of this forester is not occupied. So 5 is probably okay for right now. If we need to put a 6th one in, then we can do that. I'm not opposed to that. Just trying to do the most with what I have access to right now without, you know, spending an entire episode deep diving into all this. We have determined that having this marked for cutting doesn't really have any effect. Okay, that bot just self-destructed. That's the way that goes. But yes, there's still little tiny bits and pieces of stuff that would be very nice for us to fix, take care of, so on and so forth. And I think, again, before we do this time-lapse stuff, I do want to take care of as much of that as I can. So builder's hut gone, that's gone. We just go ahead and get rid of all of this. And I know it might seem kind of pointless, but I'm just going to go ahead and I'm just going to move these guys over to be in a slightly more useful location here. Get that 10 hauling posts. We already have a bunch of these builder's huts, which are already marked lowest possible priority. But as you guys noted, hauling posts are really important, and we kind of need to be using those more. So I'm going to put another one in up here in District 7, and then down here in the main district, we actually have, if we, oh, come on, click on our jobs here, scroll down to hauling posts, we only have 1. And I almost didn't believe it when somebody left that comment. I was like, there's no way we only have 1, but, you know, yeah, well, it's accurate. We only have 1. So all of these builders' huts, completely overkill. So I'm going, and again, not like it matters, but as we start transitioning all of the jobs over to bots across the entire map, then, you know, we're going to need to be able to have access to do a whole bunch of stuff. And once the biobeavers are no longer working in the dangerous jobs, it's going to be really useful to have them as haulers. So we are going to go ahead and put in, I'm going to say 4 more hauling posts. And these are for biobeavers, so let's not get that incorrect there. And that's just going to help everything go so much smoother. Remember, we have a lot of these water tanks that need to be filled up and are currently empty. And we have these guys here that are all marked as supplies. And these are all operated by bots. So, you know, the more haulers we have, taking them out of here and putting them in places like here, then, you know, that's just the way that we need to be doing stuff. Probably should just have, probably most of these marked as obtain. So I guess we will go ahead and do those 12. Should be fine right like so. Now we do have wooden workshops here, but again, we don't have enough pine resin, so it's one of those things that we just have to get on top of and have a whole lot better time with. And I see we've got 4 of these advanced breeding pods. I did say that we were going to replace all of them with advanced pods, but honestly, I think for some of them we can just get rid of them and not replace them. Because we already have too many beavers. And, you know, the goal of the Apocalypse mode is not to have the most huge population possible. It's to survive a 100-day drought or a 100-day bad tide with the settings that we put in place. And honestly, I think we're already there. The game just won't give me one. So, it is what it is. But I am going to get rid of these breeding pods here that are not the advanced ones. We can take a look at these. Which ones are the? Are they under... I actually don't know. Oh, they're under housing. Okay, so we have 5 regular breeding pods. This one says 1%. That is now gone. This one said 99%. Now it's 0%. And we've got one that says 94 here, and then this one says 83. Ah, see, that one was hidden. I didn't notice that was there. But we will have to kind of keep an eye on these things. The advanced pods are faster anyway. And again, we don't have to have the most giant population ever. We're just trying to prove that we could conquer the challenge, as it were. So this one's at 98%, just about finished. And then I'm not going to wait for the 87 and the 46 to be done. We'll just have to remember that those need to go away at some point. But now, all right, that says 0, and away she goes. So now we have a little bit more space here. Not like it, you know, really just tremendously matters, but it's little tiny things like this that will make stuff better overall as we continue working. And okay, these guys have a little bit more. Ah, they can't. Oh, well, maybe they can reach it. Okay, I stand thoroughly corrected. We'll just go ahead and make sure that is marked. This is already running, prioritized by callers. Again, we're growing canola here so we can make canola oil, so we can make grease, and all of that does have to just get put in the appropriate locations. And since this is update 6, we obviously can't do any terrain stacking or anything like that, so what the ground we have is the ground we have, and that's just the way it goes. But we have all this space here, and you take a look at how the grease factory is set up. It is a 2x3 building, which isn't really conducive to being super useful in this area. However, we don't have to worry about having problems with our power transfer because we got this mess right here. If I put this in as a... Come on. I guess it was angry at me for putting that in that way. But now that should be totally fine. Get this set up here. And I'm going to go ahead and unlock the grease factory. And we'll just pop in 2 of those right there, which means they're going to need to have some sort of a storage nearby they can access. We have ladders here, and we have all of this space that is not used up in this area. And we also are going to have the what do you call it? Oil presses. The fun squelching noise generator. So I think those would make sense to put right here. I know we have these charging stations that are actually being used, but the way this is set up, it's just begging for this to make sense right here. And we can also come in on the back side here and replace those charging stations with minimal complaints from the beavers. Actually, no complaints from the beavers because this is a bot-only district. But I see a couple opportunities for us to plant additional pine trees in here. You know how it goes. Like I said, just takes time. These guys are drying out. That is one of the things that I kind of forgot about, is that this doesn't hold water up here because we're, you know, continually pumping stuff out. So I probably should have checked what the actual irrigation range of this farmhouse was before planting a whole bunch of canola here. Honestly, I think this should be enough. Should be. We just have to have the space to actually put stuff in place. So right here, I've got room for a large tank if I commit to not putting any more trees in here. And these are already starting to dry out, so I think just for the purpose of, you know, not being a complete idiot, sometimes we'll go ahead and just say goodbye to these. Pop in our things here. I am going to keep this path in place just because. And then here we can have room for some grease that is actually being produced. Remember, the grease is a product of, if we look at this, canola oil and extract, which means ideally we would have 2 more of these big things, but somebody put the tapper shack on this side, which means there's no room for it. But fortunately, we're no longer beholden to the, oh, we can't get rid of stuff because we're going to lose all our... No, it doesn't matter. Also, we're not using the tapper shack yet. So we'll just go ahead and pop this right here. Super simple. Like I said, that is for grease. This is going to be for extract, and this is going to be for canola oil, which is right here. And it's all close enough where it shouldn't really matter. Everything should be okay. And, you know, it's not the most beautiful thing ever, but it is functional, or it will be functional once it's actually set up. And I think everybody can get on board with that. Plus, it's pretty close to the trees that are actually being used for the resin. That is going into all of this stuff. So, well, that actually has nothing to do with this, but I like it when things make sense, even if they don't make sense. What does that mean? I don't know, and you probably don't either, and that is okay, because we're just here to have a good time. Alright, so get that unmarked for cutting so we don't accidentally keep recycling all of these trees we've been planting this whole time. This guy, of course, will still have access to all of that. We will have to keep on working on that. I think we got this set up pretty well for right now. Obviously, we could stand to have additional food types represented in the thing here, the over 1,000 club. But stuff like the mangrove fruits requires just an unbelievably large farm we don't really have the space for. And kohlrabis, I mean, they will eat them. It's not the most important thing ever. I think one of our biggest problems is this whole thing with soybeans, because we really don't have adequate production of those. We've got cassavas here, we've got soybeans here, mushrooms, no badgers, no snakes, but we probably could stand to put in another 1 or 2 of these fermenters specifically for the purpose of making soybeans. If I can find somewhere to put it that is powered and not super far away. The obvious answer would be to get rid of this coffee brewery here, which I think probably is currently, the way this is set up, our only option. So we'll go ahead and do that, and I will put this fermenter here, get that popped in place. Now this is for mushrooms, this is for mushrooms. I'm going to go ahead and say this one could be for soybeans, and then I'll make this one for cassavas to replace it, just so this stuff is kind of in the same general area. So that will be something that we can maybe keep an eye on as we move forward, because obviously we do have the soybeans, and we have a decent quantity of canola oil. I'm not going to say we have a ton, but we have a decent quantity, so they should be able to make more of that if they feel so inclined. Our water levels are continuing to rise in storage, and we have 67-ish days left, and still a decent, well, actually a more than decent amount of water here. Going to try to keep pumping as much as we can, which is going to require that we put more and more and more of these tanks in. And these things here are not very full. I kind of want to replace them with tanks, but that'll be a little overkill, just a touch. So instead, since we have so many of these stinking builder's huts, just go ahead and say goodbye to those. And I'm going to extend this path up here just so we have better connectivity. And we will come in with a couple more of these. Thank you, autosave. Large tanks, and just use some of this space for that purpose. Extend this around here. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. Again, this is really not the ideal setup for a whole lot of this. This is just what we had access to, so go ahead and do that. We're not going to need so many huge quantities of builders anymore anyhow. In fact, let's I know, you're deleting the builders. Who's going to build the builders? Well, it's not that serious. It really isn't. So, that can let this get more organized here. And I think, honestly, 4 of these probably is just about enough. And if we really want to make this just a tiny bit better, we'll get rid of that. Bring this around this way. Get that connected. 4 builder slots, that's 16 builders. Plus we have the 4 here in the district center. Plus we probably have at least 1 more hiding somewhere that I've completely forgotten about. Maybe, maybe not. Okay, that doesn't need to be prioritized by haulers. Alright, so I think, and taking a look at my notes, I think that's more or less everything I wanted to get done before we did a time lapse. I'm sure I'm going to remember something else. This can get paused because, you know, there's no water left. Not that we really need to be rationing our bot numbers here. But if we have just a little bit more time here. We've got charging stations. We really don't have an independent charging complex for the bots here. We have plenty of... wait, why is this... Oh, it's still disconnected because... Because why? Okay. Is that because these were disconnected? Let's take a look here. Oh, yeah, okay. Yep, there was, there's a bridge here that has not yet been completed. That is exactly what's happened. Okay, so we're waiting on gears. We're making gears, but I think the gears are being used for other stuff. So I need, I need 28 gears. Alright, man, see, I wanted to start do time-lapse now, but I guess they're focusing on, not focusing. So instead, let's turn on gear production. Let's turn on all of these again. Because, you know, if they actually need the gears, they will import them. Assuming this is set up the correct way. We want to import into District 7. Force gears, that should help. I think I can go ahead and just leave that as it is. And we can finally come over here and we can start time-lapsing this dynamite thing. So, it's not going to be a super long one, but I am going to go ahead and take care of that over the next several minutes in real life, and then we will move right along to the next project, because there's still a whole lot of stuff that's got to get done. We'll see you on the other side of this one. Okay, so now that that has been exploded, let's talk about why I chose to do that during the drought. And you zoom out, there's no longer water stored here, which is a good thing because it was really flat, which means it would have evaporated a lot quicker, and now it's all concentrated a little bit more in our main chasm here. So, just one of those lingering projects from the previous episode. All taken care of, ready to go. We can take these out, get a little bit of materials back. And I would like to do a little bit more here in terms of blasting, but I think for right now, honestly, unless we get a super, super long temperate cycle, we're probably not going to be able to fill this up, especially if we pump it completely dry, which we are probably not going to be able to do, but, you know, never say never. There's still a bunch of this stuff that hasn't been built yet, mostly because of the slowness of gear production. It seems to be. And we've still got tons of stuff to do, so let's get back into it here. These scavenger flags can go away. We have successfully scavenged all of the metal in this, basically half of the map until you get to over here. And I honestly am not going to worry about getting this stuff out of here. It doesn't seem to be worth. But we've made some nice progress over here. We did get rid of these trees that were in the way of this path, so we'll go ahead and get those connected. And we're not... Come on, let me click. We haven't set this to work with bots yet, so that's why those weren't producing anything. And then, of course, these as well need to get going. That sound is fantastic. But now we should have some grease come in, and that's going to help the bots, obviously. We've got some more of this stuff that needs to get planted as pine trees as time goes by. So we'll go ahead and get that situated here. Remember to unmark them for cutting as they are replaced. Should be a pretty simple thing, but I've been known to make mistakes in the past, so you can never be too careful. Just taking your time, making sure everything is set up correctly. And, of course, we will come back to this time and time again to make sure that stuff is being handled appropriately. But we should start to have some actual pine resin come in here pretty soon. We do have these pine trees that are about ready to be harvested in the next couple of days. And we have just these 2 wood workshops, and we're going to need to have some storage for the pine resin. So I figured it would make sense to just have, not going to have a huge one, just have a regular medium warehouse right in front with some pine resin storage, because we don't have any in this district at all. And then, since we have metal and scrap metal here, I figured it probably isn't a bad idea to just go ahead and stack that again, just so we have a little bit more capacity. And then we've got space here. We got 5 wide, so depending on how we want to have this set up, we could have a decent looking thing here. Do I have dirt? I have 450. I don't really need to enclose this with dirt, but I guess I can. For no other reason than, again, because I can. I just put that there, and then we'll put in, because this takes 2,000 of them, I'm going to make 2 of these, come on, I guess I just have to click and do this. Obviously, we're not going to store 2,000 and then start building it. It's going to be a process, but you got to be prepared, right? So that is what we're going to have to do with that. Let's put in a ladder here. Oh, I forgot it's update 6, so we're going to have to cut off a little bit here just to make that work. Go ahead and pop that in there, just in case we want to have access to a second story there. This should be totally fine like it is. That's going to work, hopefully nicely. I guess I can go ahead and put another medium warehouse. Why didn't you just put a large one? Well, to be perfectly honest with you, I don't think there's any scenario in which we will ever have 1,200 pine resin that needs to be stored. Now, of course, if that is wrong, and we do, then I will happily replace that with one of the large warehouses, but that should be fine. We also need to have canola seed storage in this general area, and we do have a bunch of land here that can be slowly filled in with the help of all of our other fun stuff here. And I don't think they're actually going to be able to get to all of this. I just want to make it so that I can actually have a decent amount of extra space here. So, we're going to need storage for, like I said, canola seeds. We already have the canola oil. We already have extract. We already have an output for the grease. So I will go ahead. I guess, given the nature of this and how much we're going to be probably growing, I am going to put in a large warehouse, just so we can have adequate storage quantities. We don't need this staircase here, but I am going to leave it in place in case we do want to expand something else. I just want to make sure that I'm not making the worst possible decisions. So that's going to help there for canola seed storage. Obviously, the farming here is going to continue until they have nothing better to do. We're charging nicely here. I've got, surprisingly, only one incapacitated bot and one unemployed, or not one, well, I guess one unemployed thing, vacancy, whatever. Math is hard. I figured we'd probably have more available, and I was going to bring more over here, but it seems like we are running out of bot limbs. We've got a lot of chassis. We've got a lot of heads. So I think I might have an idea why, but let's check and see what our limb producers. Okay, yeah, gears. Gears are definitely still a problem. Remember what I said about wanting to leave space open here in case we wanted to expand our production? Well, it's very obvious that we are not making enough gears. And I do have, over here, I do have 6 of them. But, you know, getting them across district crossing lines is not proven to be a fast enough process. So, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to put in gear workshops up here, and I've got 3 right there that should be okay. Remember that right here I was originally going to put in a power shaft thing, but because of how this is set up, it was going to be kind of hard to do that, and I don't think yeah, I can't put it on top of this guy, which is unfortunate. So this charging station is going to need to move. Just so I can get rid of some of this stuff. Let's try this. I don't think this is going to work, but yeah, okay. Never mind. that was going to be something else if it did work. So instead of putting a charger here, let's see if there is some other way we can make this work. Remember that we have we got power shaft intersections, upward, downward, so on and so forth. And there's other buildings that will transfer power depending on how we want to have these set up. But for right now, we gotta have gears. Gotta have gears. And the gear storage is down there, the plank storage is down there, and we have ladders, so I'm not really worried about this not being the most efficient thing ever. But because of the way I chose to build this, we really don't have that much of an option. And the bots also, you know, don't need anything that isn't power. And we do have more stuff we can do in that regard. So, enough yapping. We'll go ahead and just get this set up here. And I think I can get away with instead relocating the charging station to be here, which will transfer power. And then I can put another one here. And then on the corner, I can put in like so, and then this here, this here. We may run into an issue getting this downward power shaft put in, but I'm hopeful that we won't. Anyway, we ended up solving the problem of removing the charging port and improved things a little bit in the process. It is possible. It's not always, you know, super good looking, but it is possible. So I think if I just build this ladder, then they should be able to build that downward power shaft and things should be okay. Now, the issue of having enough production of planks to keep up with the gear factories is something we do need to take a look at. Remember, in Update 6, the things are a little bit different from Update 7. The lumber mill is going to produce, for the iron teeth, is going to produce one plank every 2/3 of an hour, roughly. Slightly less than 2/3 of an hour. And the gear workshop every 3 hours is going to consume one plank. We have 2 in this district, 2 industrial lumber mills, so every 2/3 of an hour we're producing 2 planks. And when these 3 come online, we will have 5 total industrial lumber mills. So every 3 hours we will consume 5 planks. So I don't think I have to be a mathematician to explain to you that that's probably still fine. But it is, I think, important to keep growing our production of other stuff anyway, because we are still using the planks. So there's not really any harm in us putting one more industrial lumber mill here so we can actually use it and continue feeding the rest of these things. So I need them to build, of course, they need gears to build the upward power shaft and the downward power shaft, of course. That is, unfortunately, how it goes. But I do see canola oil coming in here. I see a nice storage of canola seeds. And, you know, we are making grease. It's just not a super quick process. But it is a process, nonetheless, that is occurring. And we can be happy about seeing progress with. So just put a couple more of these pine trees in. Make sure we unmark. Again, it is not a glamorous task, but it is one that still must be done nonetheless. Don't need the path to have markings on it. Definitely don't. Yeah. Just trying to keep up with this as best as we can. And this problem will solve itself eventually. This one just needs this single gear and then a couple more logs, and it's going to be good to go, and we're going to be... Well, I'm not going to say like the perfect amount of gears being produced, but we're going to be a whole lot better off, and we can obviously keep building these. I said, looking at this, we had every 3 hours, 5 gears, assuming this works 24/7, 365, or whatever calendar system the beavers or the bots use. And for our bot part factories, the currently 4 factory buildings that will be consuming gears are 2 making limbs and 2 making skulls. So, conveniently, every 4.5 hours, one of these will consume 3 gears, which 2 of these is already going to deplete these 5 gear factories that we have, gear workshops, whatever they're called. going on. So we know we need to build more, but we have substantially improved. And then every 18 hours, 2 of these are going to consume 3 gears apiece. So in 18 hours, that is 6, which every 5 hours is, what, slightly less than 2-ish? Point being, we could we could stand to build probably another 3 or 4 of these things before we'd have a surplus. Which, honestly, we probably should go ahead and do. I'll just build 1 more of those, and then... Now, look how convenient that is, huh? Well, it's fine. If the balance is off, then we'll fix it, but I think we're going to be just about perfect okay with this. Now, the problem we're running into is we are consuming a lot more than our supply is going to allow. And in terms of flowing water, we can't really get any more of these in here because of how we have this set up. But let's not forget, we have a lot of dirt, and we're producing a lot of dirt. We can just keep on making this channel 4 wide, whatever, and then we can have more water wheels as long as we can have some sort of a power system for that. And it is, you know, slowly kind of increasing and decreasing across that 10,000 HP line. So we do have options here. But I like the idea. Remember, these are bots, so they can go in the nasty here. I like the idea of, you know, continuing what we've got going on with our canal here. And I think this is a good way to use some of that dirt. So just build this up this way. Obviously, they're not going to be able to do all of this. We are going to have to send them down into here. But again, they're all bots, so there is no problem to be found. The only problem that we are going to run into is what do we do with the power that's generated with this? How are we going to connect it? And for that, I think we're going to need to turn to our old friend, our channel here. And this charging station, or one of these charging stations, is probably going to have to be sacrificed so that we can have a little crossover thing here. But it doesn't have to be here. It could be one of these. Remember that when we put in these large water wheels, the nub will be right here. And then this is actually set up perfectly for this. If we want, then we probably take a look at what's underneath this. Okay. Yeah, so there isn't actually anything coming up from underneath here. If we know how we're going to have this set up. Oh, you know what? We might actually, this is going to be ugly if we did it this way, but we might actually be able to come up over here. Or we could just say, you know what? This isn't that serious. Just take this out. This right now is just a platform, which if we got rid of it, remember that these are powered off of the wood workshop. So if we bring this out, all we have to do is connect in that same spot. I guess I should have just left the platform in place because that's not really relevant. All I have to do is just bring in, like so, just bring it across our path here, which this space probably, if we're expanding this, this would expand this emergency reservoir as well. Yeah, you know what? You know what? I like this idea, folks, as long as I don't run out of dirt. As long as I don't run out of dirt to do this, and I'm realizing now that I may actually do that. Every 2 hours you get 6 pieces of dirt. One of these is 6 pieces of dirt, so every 2 hours of production of this is 1 square. This is 4, so that is 8 hours. That's a third of a day. Yeah, it's not going to end up being supremely amazing in terms of production of power, but don't forget that we have the ability to time-lapse, and I've got time today. I've got time today to time-lapse a whole bunch of this stuff, but I don't want to get into that quite yet. But I do like the idea of continuing our channel here and getting at least 4 more, maybe 6. Because remember, these are making like 800-ish. When I clicked on this, it said 850. Now it says 7 something, and now it's going back and forth, and I'm looking like an idiot. But you know, that is just the that's just the way things go sometimes, folks. But yeah, I think this is a tremendous opportunity for us to enjoy the benefits of a time-lapse. But before we get that going, I am going to get the rest of this taken care of the best way I know how, which for right now is, I think, going to have to be, so we can save dirt, going to have to be putting in a couple of platforms here, and then building our infrastructure before we put in the wheels, so I don't have to move the camera as much. So if that's going to be there, then we know that this is going to be here, and then we'll put in, just for the benefit of having enough for 4 wheels. I think that is what I can safely plan on. Leave 2 away there. Oh, that's not right at all. That's supposed to be 3. There we go. Good job, me. And then leave 4 spaces in between, so that would go there. And we have room for the future if we so choose. Get those connected there very, very easily. Just go right across the path there so we don't lose any connectivity. And yes, I know these all require gears, which is funny because that's the whole thing we've been trying to improve is our gear production, so that this doesn't end up taking 800,000 years to get done. But the way this is set up right now is good enough for 4. I'm going to try to keep expanding it so we can do 6, maybe 8, depending on how long this time-lapse takes. But yes, folks, that is going to be the start of another time-lapse, like we just said. We'll get all this stuff taken care of, try to do the best we can to improve our standings, and monitor everything else. Because, you know, we do still have 50 days left in this drought, and we do still have a mission to try and improve the well-being of the beavers, and we're still going to get there. Remember, we're going to get it done. It just might take a little bit of time-lapsing and a little bit of thinking along the way. But we'll go ahead and wrap this time-lapse up now, and we will move on to what's next. So, you might have noticed something that I just now noticed. You might have noticed it a couple minutes before I did, or a couple of time-lapse minutes before I did. There's red here, and there isn't supposed to be. Because somebody made a mistake, and if you can figure out what that is before I do, then you win a cookie, except I'm not going to send you cookies. Yeah, so it turns out that this somehow was not separated appropriately, and I'm not exactly sure what happened here. Because, you know, you look at this, and there's not really a good reason for what would have, oh. No, I just figured it out. There's not enough room here with the levees in place? Or is it because I removed the, no, okay, I gotta... Oh man, I've got to do some investigation here, because this shouldn't be coming up through here. I guess I must have deleted the impermeable floors. Would be my only guess when I put in the upward power shafts for this, because there should be no possible way for this to get through here. But it's also flooding, and like, how, unless, oh, you know what? It's this. It's got to be this. I didn't put my weirs in. Yeah, because, you know, this is a whole 3, 3, 3, 3. This is 12 CMS, and I've only got 4 edges. So, fortunately, we have the technology to go ahead and shut this off for emergency crisis management. But I fear the damage has already been done in terms of polluting this here. So, what's gonna... Oh my god, dude. I was like, why are these pine trees all dying? This shouldn't be happening. Oh no. Because this just managed to overflow this entire thing. Oh man, so this is gonna have to drain. And I had a silly Billy here. I was trying to focus on you know, getting him out. Okay, easiest way to solve this problem and stop it from getting worse is going to be to just put in levees here until I can fix something else. Just put in levees here. Man, this really makes me mad, too. This really makes me mad. Oh, man. So many words I wish I could say right now, but I've decided not to. Oh, jeez. Okay, so we'll get that put in place. Prioritize. We've already shut this off, which should eventually let all of this out here. Oh, there's just so much. There's so much coming in here. God, man. I'm going to have to... I know, I'm sorry I keep pausing, but this is important. I don't have a ton of dirt. I really need to stop this from intermingling with the main reservoir, because that's going to cause a lot of problems. Okay, that still says 0%. I think it's probably mostly this area, with which, if we can isolate it, is going to be a whole lot less painful than the alternative. But oh, what's the fastest way to box this off? I actually don't know. Like, I want to say... Like, I want to go straight across here, but I can't because there's all this metal in the way. And I'm pretty sure by the time I get around to building through here, it's not going to be able to... Alright, so this is the only complete straight line path I can do this with. So if I put one here, and if I put this tree out, let's just try to measure this. Let's see, 6 by, it would be one more over here. So this would basically allow us to build all of this at once. So if I take this, probably the fastest way is going to be to take that out. Let's make that super prioritize. Well, not super prioritize. Obviously, the other one was a little bit more important. I get that in here. We can start building. I'm not going to bring in dirt. I'm just going to put in levees here because you know we have, well, a decent amount. All right, this is just going to go straight out the way here, all the way across, all the way across. We don't really have any other option. They can't get here. No, they can. I need to disconnect all of this. Need to completely disconnect. We'll do that here with 3, because I do not want the bio beaver builders, say that one 5 times fast, coming from over here to get into this area. So I will very carefully disconnect in multiple locations so we don't have, hopefully don't have tragic beaver poisoning occur here. But this needs to be, only needs to be that high. One more level there. Okay, that's actually doable. That's actually doable if we can get something else over here. So let's just come back to this. We've already shut this off. This has a limited amount it can go off. The rest is coming here. But the water level is low enough now, so this is completely eliminated. Okay, so this no longer is an issue that we need to contend with. Except, you know what, I am going to turn this back on eventually because we do have to run these things. The other issue that we now find ourselves having to cope with is I need weirs here. And I do have dirt for that. But, well, it's a good thing I already had that in place. I think what's going to... am I allowed to do this in Update 6? Yes, okay. I'm just trying to remember. The crisis mode management skills are not something I would consider myself to be very good at. All right, so right now our problem is we have 4 tiles worth of edges at 2.2 each, which only gets us to not 12. So we do need to increase our amount of teeth that we have. Easiest, cheapest, quickest way is to put in this here, which is going to give us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times 2.2 is definitely more than 12. One of these might have been sufficient, but now we do need to come over here with I suppose, well, just, what the heck, we'll just do ladders. If we pause construction on these two wheels, we should be able to just get this in like so with a ladder. And I know this is all stuff that is going to have to be dealt with eventually anyway, but a little bit more important for right now. While this is shut off, it's not going to be an issue, and we know we have the logs to take care of this. We just have to get this whole thing built. So now that it's no longer in danger of, you know, dumping more poison into our area here, man, I swear I don't plan this. It's like, this is so frustrating every time this happens, because I know somebody's going to post, "You only do this for engagement." Shut up. Just stop it. I promise you, if I was doing this for engagement, I would do it a lot more often than I'm actually legitimately making the mistake of doing it. But I digress. If you're watching episode 30 of this, you're probably not one of those people anyway. So we're going to let them take care of this. And then we have to get all of this poison pumped out. Unfortunately, it is spreading rather rapidly. So to try to prevent that, I'm going to close this sluice. And I guess if I turn these pumps off, then they're not going to be able to draw any more water this way by way of doing that. These pumps on may help prevent that. Now, this amount of bad water in here probably isn't the end of the world, but oh, it's so frustrating. It's so aggravating. At least I have builder bot beavers. I think I've got 12, 16. And do we have enough? Oh my god, I only have... Are you serious? I only have 6 logs in this entire district. Come on, man. Come on, man. How does this always happen? How does this always happen to me? There's probably a lesson to be learned in this. This district has 920. If I have this set to force import logs, which it already is, then that may make it a little bit... No, wait a second. Wait a second. No, the builders for this project are coming from this district, which means I've got 16, I've got 20 bio-beavers doing this. Alright. Yeah, remember how earlier this episode I said, yeah, we don't need these giant builders. We're never going to have a giant building project again. Well, my. How the turntables. Well, they're going to work on this. That's all they can do. We do have, since this is disconnected, we do have the ability to build from this side as well, which is nice. But we don't have enough. Don't have enough wood. Don't have enough trees. God. All right. Well, these are only pines, and I also can't reach these currently. These pines probably could go ahead and cut down. I have a lumberjack here not doing anything. The dead ones, yeah, okay. The dead ones will cut down because this is an emergency situation. We will use the trees. They will not have died in vain. And I guess, how far does this... Oh, okay. All right, all right, all right. We might be okay. This can reach a little bit. But I know that nasty red is just going to be... it's just going to be making its way downtown. That is an ancient meme. So, if I put in bad water pumps, like go ahead and just say, you know what? I'm going to own this. We're going to do the best we can to solve this problem and pump as much of this out as we possibly can. We are unfortunately going to have to be limited by what we can store. And I know this is not the best possible solution on the face of the earth, and this isn't where this is supposed to go forever. But this is a crisis, okay? This is a crisis. We absolutely, absolutely must prevent the spread of this nasty by any means possible. So, it is what it is. And having the pumps here is hopefully going to prevent most of this from getting over to this other side. Oh my god, I'm so aggravated. This is like actually infuriating. Well, this has hopefully been solved as a problem. We do have to turn this back on. I will open one of these at a time, because it turns out I didn't actually break any sort of a any sort of a thing here, because we do have impermeable floors here, and they were not removed because, guess what? You can build on top of these things. It was just the overflow here because this could not escape. What a profound disappointment this has become. But we're pumping. We're pumping. These can barely reach. They can barely reach down. But if we're not pumping any more clean water out and we're not releasing any, then this height should still be mostly sufficient to get a decent bit of this out. So what we're going to do, I'm going to finally unlock the stream gauge. Yes, somehow we did not have one of these. I'm going to put one there. I'm going to put one here. And then I'm going to put one... how close can I actually get it to the... Oh, I can put right next to the drain here. I think they can reach this. Nope, they cannot. All right, let's try here. Yes, they can reach that. So we're going to monitor that. Obviously, the most important thing to build right now is this little dividing thing, so no more of this nasty comes through here. Now, if it's just a tiny bit, then okay. This is a huge, huge reservoir. It's not going to be that big of a problem. And at the end of this, we do have floodgates we can flush it out with, but we have 44 days left. I don't want to use the flushing method quite yet. I do think we can manage to make this a viable thing. Now, if I would have been smart about this, then I would have put in a sluice here at the bottom. And we could have had just, you know, the whole thing completely separated for safety. Like, you know, those tanker trucks, the big 53-foot trailers that are just giant tanks that hold thousands and thousands of gallons of liquid. I don't know, it could be, I don't know how many thousands, tens of thousands of gallons. I don't know. Scale at that point of liquid volume is not something I'm good at estimating. But they've got baffles inside. They're not technically separated, but they've got different sections in some cases that can be separated, or they've got baffles in place that prevent all of the liquid from sloshing side to side or front to back, so the vehicle doesn't tip over. We could have done a similar thing here. We could have, if I had been thinking, but oh no, we're never going to get contaminated here. That's completely impossible. Well, you know, that's yeah. Honestly, it'd been a very long time since we'd had a disaster in this playthrough, so I guess we were kind of overdue. But I do need to have this pumping out more stuff. So I am going to turn another one back on. We're going to go slowly so we don't accidentally get that... oh, look, there's poison over here already. We're working on it, folks. We're working on it. We're getting it done. It's just unfortunate that we had to do it this way. But let's go ahead and get the rest of these pine trees put in place. Oh, this is so aggravating. Alright, the rest of these can be unmarked for cutting now that there's no oak trees left. Now that all of them have died as a result of somebody being dumb. But now we have pine resin. Maybe. I actually don't see it over here, so maybe we're using it faster than we can actually do anything. Anyway, I know this is like the worst possible time to do this, but I'm looking at the OBS window, and I know we've done a couple of time lapses and we interrupted one of them. But I'm looking at an hour 23 minutes right now, and I'm starting to worry that this episode, without the time lapses, or with them edited down, could be approaching the past an hour mark. So we are going to wrap it up pretty soon. But I am just, I'm beside myself, man. This is such a stupid mistake that hopefully we won't have to really worry about too much more. Why am I like this? Well, these guys are supposed to be pumping at least, and they'll get some of this cleared out, and then we'll have to, you know, put in scaffolding and put in additional deep bad water pumps to take care. Oh, and now this is... Oh, come on, man. Oh. These soybeans, I swear, I gotta open it. I gotta open it. These things are gonna die, man. They're already drying out. They're already doing it. And now it's flooding. How is okay? Well, I said I didn't want them to, I said I didn't want them to go away. And there are a couple that did, but now there's water in here again. And it very well could be slightly polluted, but that's the way it goes. I was really trying to avoid doing that, but I'm not going to deal with losing every single one of our soybean crops. That is just the most annoying thing possible. This isn't backing up yet, right? Good. I'm going to be so paranoid about this for the rest of this playthrough. Okay, I think we might be okay. Did we get this all the way across yet? I know. Oh, man. I know there's still some here. They're going to take care of that. This says 3% contamination. Yikes. This says 1%. This says 0%. So we might actually be okay. I am going to hit that on open again because now this is essentially finished. And there's not that much coming through it. What does this say? 1%, 0%. And this does still say only 3. So, you know, it definitely could have been worse. This is completely isolated now. So, thankfully we do have that. But these guys are obviously not going to be able to pump all of the nasty out. And these guys are going to want to be pumping all of the clean out. But, you know, possibly the benefit to this is in 42 days this could be empty anyway from evaporation. So if we focus firstly on pumping only the nasty water out, then we might actually be in a decent position here. Let's go ahead, since this district is one that needs to have bad water in the first place, let's go ahead and put in some scaffolding here. That's almost tall enough. Almost tall enough. I guess if I do 2x1 overhangs here, because I need to be able to get down enough. So this needs to be down at least 3 levels from here, which is 1, that's 2, that's 3. Alright, so I'm not going to be able to get away without using these things. So that would be enough for 2. If I do 2 here, and then I do 3x1 overhangs, then I can definitely put 2 bad water pumps here, and I know they might technically have 1 more level of depth they could get to. Maybe not, actually. Let's check this. No, okay, that's actually perfect. Alright, so that's going to give us access with a staircase. Not that we really need it to be stairs, but just have to let it be what it's going to be. Put that there. Get that hooked up there. This no longer has access to come through here, except now it does. So that could be bad water coming in at the very least. Now this is a whole lot of infrastructure building to be doing to correct a very temporary small mistake, but I am dead serious about not having poison in the main reservoir. 1%, 0%. That's fine, I guess. So this lumberjack flag did prove to be useful, but I'm going to go ahead and pause it. We don't have any flooding here, right? Right, no flooding. We're good. We're good. Are we generating power? We are. All right. I'm going to go ahead and turn this back on. Hopefully this works, right? I think like 99% sure this solved our problem. I am reluctant to be 100% sure. All right, so this is now going almost 800 HP. About 750 should creep up a little bit more, but it shouldn't fill up past this bit. And it is going up. Hopefully it doesn't go up any higher than this. Alright, that looks like it's going to be fine. Oh boy, that was a stressful time that didn't necessarily have to be stressful, but ended up being stressful anyway. Well, they're pumping. These guys are from the main district. This probably should be set to force import bad water. Because we're... Oh, what did I just... Okay, that didn't matter. We're not really using bad water in this one anymore. And we are using extract, but I think we're doing so much with the extract that we weren't producing enough, and then the power got turned off because somebody flooded the whole thing with poison. Wonder who that could have been. But we can finally, now that that problem has been resolved, put in the rest of... oh, man. Put in the rest of these things, and then finally end today's episode. I do apologize, but boy, was that a time. So we know that can go there just fine. I just can't put this one in until this one's finished. Yeah, so, you know, assuming that nothing else terrifying, horrifying, awful bad happens, that is going to be the end of this episode. I am going to time-lapse while we're doing this final goodbye bit so we can finally have all of these water wheels put in. But I really appreciate your support for this series. I know it has been not always the most efficiently run or common sense oriented playthrough, but I've had a really good time with this, even though I did say in the stream the other day that this was my least favorite series that we're doing right now, but that doesn't mean it's not fun. It's just this has been way more stressful than the other ones, although we kind of escaped that for a while. But I really do appreciate your support. Beard Boosters, of course, can't do it without you. You already know, you are the folks that keep this thing up and running. You keep the lights on, keep the internet bill paid, and all that good stuff. And you funded the computer that we're playing on right now, too. So, you know, your impact really cannot possibly be overstated. And I really appreciate your support of not only the channel, but me as a person and everything that I've got to take care of in this world in which we find ourselves. But all that being said, that is going to be the end of today's episode. Have a fantastic rest of your day, whatever it is you're doing. Stay safe, have fun, and we'll see you back again very soon for more Beaver fun. Take care, friends. Bye-bye.